In the 1960s, Japan was rebuilding at a pace the world had never seen. Cities exploded upward, highways carved through neighborhoods. Tokyo felt like a living creature, growing faster than anyone could understand. But for a group of young Japanese architects, that wasn't fast enough. They believed cities shouldn't just grow, they should evolve, like organisms, like ecosystems, like living things. This was metabolism, a radical idea that buildings should be modular, replaceable, alive. Post-war Japan was a strange mix of devastation and opportunity. Entire cities needed rebuilding, and the population was booming. In 1960, a group of architects, including Kisho Kurokawa, Kiyonoro Kikutake, and Fumihiko Maki, released a short manifesto at the World Design Conference in Tokyo. They called their movement Metabolism, a fusion of biology and architecture. Buildings wouldn't be static monuments. They'd be systems that could adapt, expand, contrast, even shed old parts and grow new ones. To them, a city wasn't a finished product. It was a living metabolism, constantly regenerating. The metabolists weren't interested in normal buildings. They wanted to design entire civilizations. Their plans were jaw-dropping. The Tokyo Bay Plan, a massive megastructure stretching across the entire bay, housing millions in modular pods. Marine City, floating communities that rose and fell with the tides, a solution to Japan's lack of land. Helix City, skyscrapers spiraling like DNA, with habitable branches extending in every direction. Most of these were never built. They were too large, too expensive, too ahead of their time. But they changed one thing forever. They gave Japan permission to imagine a future that wasn't bound by past. If the megacities were too ambitious, the metabolists did manage to build one idea at scale. Capsules. Attachable, replaceable housing pods. Tiny apartments that could plug into a structure core. Each capsule would last 25 years, then be swapped out like a battery. The most famous example was Nakagin Capsule Tower in Tokyo, completed in 1972. It looked like science fiction. A tower made of 140 prefab pods, each one craned into place like a Lego block. Inside, a compact, ultra-efficient micro-apartment, a vision of future urban living. But the reality was tougher. Capsules weren't replaced. Maintenance was expensive. Developers lost interest. For decades, the building decayed. Until demolition began in 2022. Metabolism's greatest symbol became its greatest tragedy. By the mid-1970s, metabolism began to unravel. Oil prices soared. Construction costs skyrocketed. Japan shifted from experimentation to economic caution. And most importantly, the technology of the time simply couldn't support the metabolism's dreams. Modular megastructures required precision engineering that didn't exist yet. Urban politics resisted sweeping transformation. The architects were too visionary for the world they lived in. But metabolism didn't disappear. It simply transformed. Its ideas lived on in unexpected places. Modular housing and micro-apartments, sustainable urbanism and floating cities, parametric design, 3D printing and adaptive architecture. Kisho Kurokawa once said, "Architecture must be open to change, like the human body." Today, as cities adapt to climate change, population shifts, and new technologies, the world is finally catching up to the vision Japan imagined half a century ago. Metabolism challenged the most fundamental idea in architecture, that buildings should last forever. Instead, it asked, what if architecture could live and die like we do? What if cities were never finished? I'm Mahsa, and this was Forgotten Architecture. Next time we'll explore the neon-soaked optimism of Googie architecture, the American movement that made diners look like rocket ships. Until next time.